I'm 1 week into my 1 month challenge to design and launch a product on Amazon. There's been a lot of things that have happened. We've got it to the point where we're ready to make our first prototype, but let's jump right in and I'll tell you everything that we've done in this first week. Hi everyone and welcome to the channel, my name's Josh. I've started completely from scratch and I've given myself a 1 month time frame to get it sent into Amazon, and then after that month we've got one more month to get within the top 1000 ranking of its category on Amazon. Now I went into this completely blind. The only criteria that I had was that it had to be able to be UK made, just because we don't have the time frame to get something shipped over from the Far East. And also it was going to have to be in the toys and games category, just because that's where I'm most comfortable trading, and it's somewhere where I feel that I can make a product which is both unique and better than everything else that's on the market at the moment. Now, having said that, the first day was a little bit of a challenge because we went into it completely blind. We honestly had no idea what we were going to finally decide that we were going to make. So we set out the same way that I'd recommend that everyone else does, and we took a systematic approach. So we decided what sells well on Amazon. So our entire first day was spent doing research on other people's products. This quickly allowed us to rule out several products which we were never going to be able to make realistically in the time frame and the budget that we had, which is around £2,000 to get it launched. We quickly got rid of anything that would require a lot of research and development, both because of the time frame and the capital costs involved. So for example, if you wanted to make a new board game or a new card game, you're going to need to do loads of time developing it, refining it, make several prototypes, do maybe focus groups where you send it out to people, get their feedback, and then keep on improving it. This is absolutely something you can do if you don't have a lot of money, but what you will need to do, or what you'll be best doing, is going down the Kickstarter route where you've got a finished concept in mind, you then launch it on Kickstarter and try to raise capital, get your first orders in through there, and then you can actually make the product. That's something that I will cover in future because it's a really interesting aspect to e-commerce, but it's something that isn't suitable for this video because I want it to just be as basic as possible so that any of you can go out and make your own products as well when the time's right. So having decided that those kind of products were off limits, we then had to decide to focus in on what is our specific niche that we're going to exploit. After a while, we decided to focus in on the arts and crafts category. This is a really big category on Amazon. It's something that we've sold in before, so again, that's our previous market knowledge coming to our favour. We knew what sold well, we knew the kind of volumes that were going to be sold, and we knew that it's very possible to get a well-ranked product in this category. Now, because we're not buying direct from the Far East and importing it in, your single, simple products weren't going to be something that we could be competitive on. That's because we don't have a strong enough brand yet to be able to make people buy ours. For example, if Hasbro launch a pipe cleaner range, people are going to buy their product because their brand has got brand value, and they can make a good margin on them because people will pay extra knowing that it's going to be high quality because that's what's associated with their brand. For ourselves, because we're a new brand, and for any of you who are just starting out, you won't have the brand strength to draw people in because you've got a quality name. Because of that, it then becomes a bit of a competition on who can have the best branding, either due to the photos or realistically the cheapest price point. So things like pipe cleaners or simple items were out of the question. This effectively left us in a bit of a pickle, but we had one of two options. We could either go for a craft box, which is an educational toy, or a craft kit, which is where you have an end product in mind that you make. For example, with a craft kit, you'd have a kit that comes together, and by the end of it you've either got a doll, you've got an engine that you've made, something along those lines, whereas a craft box is something where you can make anything you want. You just got loads of tools to make whatever it is that your creativity decides. We very specifically focused in on a craft box as opposed to a craft kit, and I'll explain this briefly. So in the UK and the European Union, you need something called CE testing to launch a product which is in the toys or games category. It also applies to many products. If you've noticed a little CE marking, which I'll apply somewhere on the screen, you will see that it's on the vast majority of things that you sell, and that effectively means to consumers that this is a safe product to use. Because a lot of toys and games are used by kids, you need to send it off for external testing. That external testing isn't massively expensive. We've done it for products before. It cost us around £200-300 for the basic testing, but it does take quite a while, a few weeks, and you need to send off your finished product to them for them to be able to give you the go-ahead. We didn't have the time frame for that, and we also wanted to possibly avoid it because it can spend a long time tweaking your product to make it compliant to whatever the rule set is. I will just forewarn you all, if you're looking to follow this along and are making your own product, if you are making something that's an electronic or something that includes electricity, it is a lot more expensive than a couple of £100 to get that tested. You can send it off to the testing houses. We use Intertech, they're the best ones that we've found, but you can be looking at many thousands of pounds just to get this product verified as being safe. I've warned you, it's completely up to you, do your research, but don't get too far along your development before you realise that this is going to cost quite a hefty amount of money to do. So, the uniqueness about craft boxes and why we decided to focus on it is that you do not need this specific safety testing done because it's classed as an educational toy. In the legislation, it is specifically referenced as being outside of the scope of the harmonised testing standards. So we decided we're going to focus in on a craft box as opposed to a craft kit. So that took us to the end of around day 2. So we were doing both of those at the same time over a couple of days to finalise the products that we were going to actually decide to make. This took a little bit longer than expected, so we then had to really hustle through to make sure that we managed to get it to a stage where by the end of the week we could have the product coming to us so that we could start to assemble, prototype it. So on day 3, we spent the entire time focusing in on who are our competitors that are selling a similar product already online, and we made a list of everything that we thought was good what they had, which we effectively wanted to steal, and then everything that we thought was bad so we could improve on it. That's how we systematically make a product that's better than everything else that's already on sale. One thing that we noticed with the craft boxes was that the most popular ones had a high volume of units, which is not the best news in the world when you're looking to make something in the UK, but it was something that we realised that we need at least 1,500 pieces, and to be able to be price competitive, we're going to be looking at around the £25 to £30 price mark. So that was something that we saw from their products which were good, which we would need. They also had a relatively wide array of items that you got within the box itself, which is something that we wanted to copy. So we wanted 1,500 pieces and we want that split across several items. Now the things that we disliked was that everyone that we saw was doing a white label good and they were buying from Alibaba and importing them in. We wanted to avoid this, obviously that we've gone over before, but also it means that the issue with going down that route is that actually you had 4 or 5 sellers selling the exact same product with their label stuck on the front. This means that it all comes down to the best branding possible and the lowest price point possible, which, if you're good at that and that's your strength, by all means do it. If you've got the capital to buy in bulk and get them shipped over as cheap as possible, absolutely go ahead. But it's not something that we enjoy. We rather make actual unique products. So we're part of white labelling, and one of the issues that they run across was that A, they all looked the same, and B, the actual physical product was identical, so the contents that you got in it were the same, and the contents had a few weaknesses that we identified. So we saw that you've got far too many of this and not enough of that, and you could do with these other items being put into it because they'd actually make it a better experience for whoever's going to be buying it from you. All of this comes from the fact that we have previous market experience, which is why I will reiterate again, go down the arbitrage route first, get your market knowledge, and then come to making your own products. Don't do it the other way around, because you are going to struggle with making a product which is actually better than everything else on the market. Now, one thing that you should do if you are white labelling something is have your own product photos taken. Number of reasons for this. Number one, it really helps with your branding, and you can start to make it more your own products as opposed to just a generic one. Number two is that if I have an exact photo of your product that you've just taken from the factory website, I can find out where you're going to get them made from. The way that you do this is we took the product photos and we took them straight from what they had and searched for them on Alibaba. It's a new system that they've got, and it means that if you've got a picture of the product and you can search on their website, you can find who the factory or the manufacturers are that are making these for your competitors. We did this and we actually reached out to them because we want to see what's the price point that they're hitting, because if they've got a lot of room to drop, that's something we need to bear in mind, and also what kind of lead time are they looking at, what are the MOQs. All of that is good information for you to be able to have so that you can start to make informed decisions how you're going to compete in a marketplace. Now, once we'd established what they were selling and what they were doing good and bad, we wanted to make a USP, which in business is a unique selling point. Our USP was going to be the fact that we made it in the UK. We wanted to improve on the content that they had, so we were going to match the 1,500 pieces plus, but we were going to be better than that because we were going to provide a wider range of products. Some of them are completely unique, which we've picked to our craft box, which will mean that hopefully people will prefer to buy ours as opposed to someone else. We also have decided to really focus in on the eco-friendly aspect. It's something that is genuinely dear to our hearts, it's something that we've done for all of our previous products, and it's something that we want our brand to be represented with. This isn't me saying that that's the only route to go down. By all means, if you want to be the cheap and cheerful solution, that's a very feasible and good way to make a lot of money. just like the eco-friendly route is. You just need to know that everything's going to be about your price point and your marketing and getting it in as high a volume as possible from whoever your manufacturers or suppliers are, so that you can be uber competitive in the price range. Being eco-friendly, we're looking to reduce the plastic as much as possible, get rid of single-use plastic if we can, and we're aiming to have packaging with a purpose. Now this is something that is, as far as I'm aware, unique to what we are trying to do. If we're going to have to put packaging in an item, which you do have to put it in products, we want that to have value beyond the fact that it just protects the product. I won't go into that any further because I want firstly to be able to make sure that it's feasible for us to do it, and secondly I think that it would be quite cool in the future for you to be able to see how this works out for us. It's a completely new concept for us and it's something that, fingers crossed, works out in the long run. I'll keep you posted. So day 4, we actually put together the innards of our craft box. So we worked backwards from the price point that we knew that we had to sell them at. So we got our price point, which is going to be £30. We then minus all of our fees, so our Amazon selling fees. We're VAT registered, so we had to remove VAT from it as well. And that left us with the amount that we would receive once we'd sold the product. And then we also wanted to take off our margin that we needed to make. Now, because we're sourcing from the UK and we're not sourcing in massive bulk, we were happy with a 25% margin. Moving forward, we'll look to get this up to around a 50% margin. In business, there are 2 ways that you can make margin. We could either look to increase the price point in the future, which will have the knock-on effect of it reduces the amount of customers that will be able to afford the product. So naturally, it will decrease demand, but it'll improve your profit margin. The alternative way you can make a higher margin is you actually reduce your cost. You do that by buying in higher bulk, by buying direct from the manufacturer, so you're cutting people out of your supply chain. That's the route that we're going to go down, and it's something that we're very confident we'll be able to do because we've not bought from the cheapest possible sources at the moment, so we could get them in. So we spent the entire day refining what we were going to put in the box. We added loads of things in, took them out, worked on a price point, and then made sure that we hit our target of 1,500 pieces for the price point that we needed, while keeping in mind that the packaging cost needs to be added on top of that. Now, slight spoiler alert, I'm happy to say that we've managed to make what I believe to be the single best craft box that's available on the market at the moment. We've ordered them and they are due to be with us at some point next week, depending on the delivery times. Most of them are coming Monday, Tuesday, and then a few more of them will come Wednesday, Thursday, depending on how slow the couriers are at the moment. So our total spend at the moment is around £1,000 to £1,100, and that's enough for us to make at least 100 units of what we're going to be selling. Some of the lines, because we spent up to certain price breaks, have gone over, so we'll be able to make up to 200-300 craft boxes with that item, but other ones are pretty close to the 100 units minimum that we wanted to be able to make. So our next steps are to prototype. So on day 5, we had everything ordered and we needed to look into what is the packaging that we're going to put on our products, because we want it to be unique to us. This is something we're currently in development with, and it's not something we're dead set on, but we've left ourselves enough margin to be able to get something that's completely unique to us with bespoke packaging. So it won't just look like a generic box that's been sent into Amazon with our stuff in it, it'll be completely unique to my brand. One of the issues with trying to rush it through, normally this would be something that we tackled in the future, is that we don't have the exact dimensions which we're going to need to make it to. So what we've done is we've looked and we've got the rough dimensions, we've got our biggest product that we can't bend, and we've asked for quotes from packaging manufacturers for something that would fit in that. What we'll be doing next week is we'll be bundling everything together and getting a finalised product ready. So this will be our prototype, and then we can look at how we're going to pack this to get the best out of the product. So we want it to look as nice as possible. We want it to have that wow factor when someone opens it, but also we need to make sure that it fits within the weight and dimensions that we need it to be able to be competitive in the marketplace. Obviously, the heavier something is or the bigger it is, the more it costs to ship, the more it costs to store, and the worse product that the end customer's going to get, because you've got to take all of these into account when you're working out your margins. So that was around it for our first week of making the product. So we're currently just working on everything to arrive so that we can get the packaging designed and then sent off for printing and then sent to us. There are a couple of hurdles to overcome. Number one, because we want to do it eco-friendly, avoiding plastic is very expensive, so we'll have to wait and see what the best way for us to do that is. And number two, once we've actually got the physical products in front of us, we need to make sure that we're completely happy. There may be a few things that we end up rejecting and either sending back or looking to exchange with the people that we bought them from, but I'll keep you updated next week to see how we like them. And that's where we're at so far and where we're going to be going next week. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series. If you've got any questions, leave them down below. I've been more than happy to answer them for you. If you're not subscribed at the moment, please subscribe. This is an ongoing series where I'm actually going to make a product. I also do more basic guides and tutorials if you're just looking to get started selling online. If you've made it this far, which I'm hoping one or two of you have, leave a comment down below and let me know what you would be making if you were trying to launch a product on Amazon. Please give it a thumbs up, it really helps me reach a new audience and new people. If you've got anyone that you know that would love the content, by all means spam away. And last but certainly not least, thank you very much for watching and have a great day.